Okay, good. All right, so welcome everybody. I'm very excited today. We've got three wonderful guests talking about three very diverse subjects. We're going to be talking about, of course, agent attraction, which I think in the coming weeks, we have an agent attraction group, and we're going to start that back up because a lot of you have said, hey, we really want to learn more about agent attraction, not only growing our teams, our independent brokerages, but our how Ashley's doing it today, and she's going to talk about growing our organization. We're going to talk about interviewing against multiple agents on a buyer presentation or listing presentation with Miss Anna Powell, and then open houses. Those aren't for me. Rethinking that strategy. Miss Pam is going to tell us that all about. Miss Pam Tucker is going to tell us all about how she grows her business through open houses. So three really great subjects. If you were invited to this call, welcome. I know there's some new faces on here, and I'm going to kick it off with Miss Ashley Bomarito, thebomb.com.
Oh, yeah.
So I've known Ashley now for, 10 years-ish? 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And she works at Call Group. She's an agent on our team, and she started as an admin on our team and did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of transactions that way, and then decided to jump into real estate full-time just before, actually COVID was your first,
month before
COVID, she got her jump into real estate, and has been a top producer, sold up to 45 homes was 40. Your best year, 40 homes. And now she's on this agent attraction train as well, and growing her organization and downline. I think you have 64 people on her team. So she actually has more people on her EXP team than Call Group has on their physical team, which I think is kind of fun. So Ashley, take it away. The floor is yours, my dear.
Okay, all right. The next one.
The next
there
slide.
It is. This is my beautiful Canva.
Oh. Can you all hear Ashley really well? Say something. Keep talking.
Hello. Can you hear me very well? Yes. Okay, great. Well, first thing, and I put this in my story today, I think is just to be authentic. You're talking to people, and I always say, this is who I am. You're going to see me on social media. A lot of people that I meet out at networking events, they're like, oh, you actually are like how you are on your social media. I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'll tell you about my Debbie Dollar deal, and I'll tell you that I just sold this house. So I think it's just being yourself and not trying to be something else just to get someone to come over or get in front of them. And then I think this takes a while, but it's believing in the opportunity that you're presenting to someone, because I think the biggest thing that helps you with that is getting to the events, going to Orlando, going to California, any events that are thrown by agents. The agents are running the events, right? Some are EXP events, some are agent held events, and those have really opened my mind and just taught me I believe in this opportunity. I believe that I can partner with people like Anna, who I could never partner with before because I wasn't leaving Call Group. I wasn't going to go on Anna's team, which she didn't have when I talked to her in the first place. But I could partner with her, and I could hang out with her. Our kids hang out. We've been to Disney together. We've brought other people in, and we've traveled with them. So it's not just, hey, show up at this company and we're never going to talk to you again. It's, no, we're building something fun, and this is a family, and how do we grow and build together? Next thing, right? Invite people to events. Invite them to California, invite them to Florida, invite them to the May 2nd event that we're having, and show them what it could be and how you could grow your business and also grow friendships, networking. You want to be on that other side of a deal when you've got 5 offers and you know the other person. That's a huge win to me. So even if I meet people and this isn't a right fit for them, at least I know them still. If I'm in multiple offers, I might get that deal because they know me and they know who our group is. I might be able to get off-market deals for my clients because I'm reaching out and having conversations. So that kind of leads into the next one, which is connecting on social media and network events. That is huge. I am just a curious person by nature. I like to ask a lot of questions. I like to meet people. My husband says, do you really have to be on the phone again? Literally every time I'm in the car, I'm talking to someone different, and Tina knows I'll stay on the phone with her until she's like, okay, I gotta go, bye.
Yeah, your question has been answered.
Yes. And then I'll be like, well, what question can I think of? I need to keep talking. So, it's not that you have to be this high I, which of course I am, but you just have to be interested in people and really want to help them and figure out what is the pain point? Do they want to have community because they've been a stay-at-home mom for a long time and they just need to be around people, and maybe they want to sell 5 homes, but they want to come to trainings and learn and grow, maybe build an investing business. Maybe they want to buy investment properties, and we have stuff like that here. Do they want to be a top producer? They want to sell 40 homes. So I think it's, sometimes we think everybody wants the same thing, which is money, or they want stock, or they want healthcare, and they all want something different. So finding out like what makes them tick and how can you help them, whether it's here or just being a friend and letting them know about the off-market deals we have. Being consistent. This is my problem. I think I am pretty consistent, but I could be a little bit more, but just posting, having people see your face, getting to more events is probably where I'm not doing as well. But as long as you're on there and you're putting something on your story, we had a social media person on one of our Fridays, and she's like, stop posting that just sold and just listed. Those are good for a story because you want people to know that you're selling homes, but not everybody wants to just constantly see that. They're going to shut you off. How can you put something on there of something you struggled with that day, or how did the team help you, or how did another agent in our network help you? I think that's big, is just being consistent and putting stuff out there that resonates with you. And the last one is get over yourself. People aren't thinking about you, right? I have that fear of, ooh, I don't want to reach out to that person, but why not? Because maybe they're struggling in their business. They actually go, oh yeah, this might work for me, or I might need to be around more people. Or maybe I just want to be independent. You don't always, not everybody thrives from being in an environment where they're with someone all the time, but they want to know that there's support there. So we're so worried about what people are, oh my God, I look like this or I do that, but they're not thinking about you. They're going about their day. Half the time you don't even know. Someone from a car dealer could call you 16 times, and then when you go, yep, I'm ready to buy the car, you're going to call them back. So it's staying front of mind, and it's being available and helping them when they need something. Does that make sense? Do we have any questions on those?
We had a comment, number 7 hits hard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
Yeah,
because that's me. I mean, everybody wants to be likable, right? You don't want to annoy someone. I tell them all the time, like when I go into a furniture store, or I go somewhere where someone's going to bother me, I hold my phone up. I'm like, I'm on the phone. So I'm not even talking to anybody, but I don't want them annoying me. And that's, I think, how we feel about reaching out to agents or reaching out to people, because we don't maybe believe in the value, or we're not fully there yet. And once you completely, truly believe in the value of the opportunity of what Call Group has to offer, what Freedom Builders has to offer, it doesn't matter. You go, this is what we have. And if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. I'm still gonna be your friend, and I still wanna I want you to tell me when you have a listing coming. But I think it's just, we've gotta let that part go. And you just, if you don't believe in it, I think that's where you kind of get stuck. Same thing when you're selling buyers and listings and going on listing appointments and working with buyers. It's like, if you're not confident and you don't believe in yourself, they feel that, and you're not going to present the same, and you're not going to give the same information, right?
And what gets you over it?
Just doing it
Over and
over again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uncertainty causes a lack of courage. So getting the uncertainty out will allow for the courageous ask to be present.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we forget, as real estate agents, we have the fear, or we think we're annoying, but you have to look at it at their side. They're buyers and sellers. They're scared to ask us. So we don't realize they might be in the same boat, but that's even more scarier from them, because they don't know what's going on, right? So they might be scared to ask you. So that's why you're not getting them coming to you. That's why it's important to be that, get over yourself and just ask them, but not too pushy, right? Kind of works both ways. That's perfect.
Yeah, and there's actually some of the big events that we went to, some of the people were vulnerable and stood up, and actually to another person in the room, there was a big agent, Veronica Figueroa, I don't know, she probably has 2,000 or 3,000 people in her group now, and another agent that I think is she in Virginia or something, stood up and she said, I was waiting for you to call me and you never did. And you're like, oh my God, that's huge. Just someone else on the stage actually called her, but she was like, I was waiting for you to call me with the opportunity, but you didn't. And now I'm, with someone else, like we're still partners and we'll still talk, but you just never know who's in that vulnerable position that maybe they need that switch. Maybe they need your support and you are helping them. So I think if you come from that position, Yeah, it's
People
just
want to
different.
feel wanted.
Mhm.
Like, well, do you care do you want to partner with me? Like, it's a compliment to say, I want to partner with you. And that's the language too. I would love to partner with you on this.
Because it is true, and it's not that you're going to every single person and you're just friending everybody and you're going, I want to work with you. You go, no, there's people that you feel like are your people that you can help them or be friends with them or get in this group and provide more value to them. And we're not just here to bring people on and leave them. We're here to support them and become this bigger family. And I feel like, at least in my group, I feel like we've created a lot of that. So, and I've tried to really make sure I reach out to everyone, to invite them to things, to tag them and post when we're doing trainings, to help them grow, because it's fun to see other people grow and kind of take that leadership role.
Yeah. Is that next slide your slide?
Yeah.
Oh, it's yours? Okay, you have another slide. I didn't know.
Oh,
if that was
sorry,
yours.
I'm probably talking too
No,
much.
no,
Yeah.
you're good. I just
What's
didn't know
the
if you
next
had
one?
another.
Oh, fears.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what we just talked about. I'm sure you guys have all these fears, so I was like, let me just put them up here. We're annoying them.
Like Nada said.
Yeah.
You're not.
I don't like how I look on camera. And then this is one that I just realized today, and this goes, a lot of these things go for buyers and sellers, and they go for attracting agents. It's like, stop trying to be everything to everyone. We have such a big area in the triangle, and you don't have to sell in Wake Forest and sell all the way down to Lillington if you don't want to, or Chapel Hill. You could focus on a couple areas and go, no, this is where I'm going to try to sell, and this is who I'm going to try to target. I see Brandon or Marinus doing stuff like on call group, or when Brandon was selling, and he would do a lot of market updates, and so did Marinus, and I was like, oh, I should be doing that. And so then I'd do one, and it wasn't consistent because they were doing it, and I go, but I'm not really trying to target, that's not who I'm reaching on social media. I'm reaching agents that feel alone, that need help, that want to grow their business, that want to invest in properties and do something else. So that actually was from Amy Gregory, I think earlier this year. That was my takeaway. So it's just that one nugget in an event or a training that you go, oh my God, this could change my business or change the trajectory of what I'm doing. Again, follow agents on social media in other states and engage for referrals. So if you do want to build your business in other states, or if you want to build your organization in other states, maybe it just starts from, hey, I'd love to connect for referrals. Why not? If we have a lot of people coming from California, go find top agents there, people that you connect with the way that they run their social media, because we all know that's where it is. I mean, that's how we're connecting with people across the world, and we might as well take it to our advantage and go, how can we connect for referrals? Because if it's going to help a buyer or seller, which is our main business, and then they see what you're doing and they might want to emulate it, why not open that up for them?
That real quick on that, that's one of my favorites. Like, if I were to be strategic about this, I would reach out to a California agent or any agent that you do get referrals from, which we do California and the Northeast. And I think an opening question would be, hey, Judy, in Utah, do you have a Raleigh connection? Do you have somebody in Raleigh that you refer to? I would love to be that connection. I happened to stumble upon your social media account. I love it. You're awesome. You seem like you sell a lot of homes. I work for a team, or whatever, and I'd love to connect with you. And now it's like that first message, Instagram realizes, oh, they're friends, and now they'll start seeing your stuff. Ashley's stuff is now a billboard, so Judy will start seeing Ashley's stuff and then following and engaging, and that's where the relationship builds on social. So I love that, asking to be a referral partner first.
Yeah, and even at our events, it's like we have almost 90,000 people in the brokerage, and there's people at events that come up to me and they're like, I see you all the time, and I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, I see you. The one guy was like, I see you all the time at night when I'm scrolling at like 8 p.m. I was like, don't tell my husband, because I'm on Tina's social, because she's, putting my stuff on her social, and then people that follow her are seeing me. So it's like, how, again, it goes back to the business. It's like, how do you get referrals? How do you, work the business side of it while still being available and working that part? And then when people see you on social, they see you as a leader. When they see you up in front of people talking, they see you as a leader. So taking advantage of doing your own event. I mean, you could host it if you're really good at 55 and over, like Danielle Harvey. She's amazing at 55 and over community. She was the #1 agent with Epcon in the country when she was on site. So how could she do, an event that brings in agents, and she teaches them about 55 and over, what questions to ask, what to do. So everyone has their superpower, and it's finding it and then giving that information to other people. I know it's not for everyone, but you know?
I want to talk about real quick a tactical piece, because I just got off GoGo's Mastermind, and everybody said their biggest thing was, and tell me if you guys feel this way, I'm a new agent though, Ashley, I haven't really sold a lot of homes, so how do I get started? So I want you to talk about what you do, Anna does, Pam does, the local masterminds.
Yeah.
Like, talk about bringing people together in that way, because you started doing it with Anna.
We did, and that actually came from a need of two agents sitting at a table. We were just hanging out, talking, and getting together, and you know, they just shared some more intimate stories, and then there was some tears, like, I thought you had it all together, and the other one was like, I thought you had it all together. And I go, we need this, like, we have to have something every week where we can get together. And that's when the market was crazy and it was so stressful, and you're writing all these offers and going nuts, and people needed support. And that's actually how our coffee grew. And then we thought, well, let's be consistent with it every Wednesday. I think we're gonna have another training on Thursdays in downtown Fuquay, so that'll be really cool too. And I know Pam does that as well, brings in lenders and attorneys and gives information to people that might be struggling. But the local masterminds are really big. We have the DISC guy on there, and that was eye-opening for people too. So
And people think like those masterminds are so hard to curate. Like, oh my God, I don't know what to say. I'm new. And the reality is, nobody is some genius where they have all this content in their head and they're just creating it. Even Tony Robbins had mentors, and he dissected all the information, psychology, and became really, really good at extrapolating that information to others. So if you're going to a coffee on Wednesday or a coffee on Thursday, I'm a new agent, I'm taking copious notes, and then on Friday, I'm having my little mini mastermind saying, hey, new agents out in the market, are you struggling? I struggle with these 3 things. Next week, I'm gonna have a little mastermind. Let's get together, let's talk about these things. So I've just curated all that information, and I'm a facilitator now. You don't have to be a genius. This is not rocket science. And I think that's where people get really like, what am I supposed to say for an hour? I have to talk for an hour? No, you have to facilitate, bring people together, which is truly what real estate agents are good at. That's what you're good at, making friends, bringing people together and saying, what are you struggling with? Because I'm struggling with the same thing. How do you deal with it? Well, I deal with it this way. And at my firm, I have another mastermind, and my mentors taught me this. That is all that you need to do in any town, USA or Canada or nada, and just bring people together. But the thing that makes you guys win, and why Anna's group is growing so fast and Pam's group, they're doing it every week. It's not a once in a while thing. It's you're training people to come to something every week. And we used to have almost 100 people on these calls every week. Why? We were the only ones doing it. Well, now we have Anna's group, and we have Pam's group, and we have Fast Forward Movement, and we have Solo Agent Mastermind. We have so many masterminds that are coming out of our ears, which is great because it took the heavy lift off me. For 2.5 years, we did it every Friday at 11.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah, and the thing is, if nobody shows up, that's fine. We're still hanging out because we like to be around each other. Like, we're creating groups where we actually want to hang out together. So no matter what, it's a time for me to go because we're so hectic and we have kids, and Anna has 3, I have 1 5-year-old, and it's like sometimes we just can't get together or have lunch or something. So I try to time block that time so that I can hang out with her and we can catch up and we can talk about things. She's obsessed with organizational health right now. She's doing, Follow Up Boss. She wants to help the person that wants to grow a team and grow it right.
Their audio, they lost their audio real quick.
It sounds like only 1%.
Is it just one person, or can you hear us, Judy?
Can you hear me?
Judy can hear you, so I think it's
I'm
you,
almost
Tiffany.
I
done.
can hear you guys.
Okay, good.
I think
I'm almost
Tiffany
done.
lost her audio. Okay, go
So
ahead.
yeah, I was just saying, like, control the environment you're in. If you don't like, if you look at everybody else and you go, I think I should do it like them, you don't. You do it how you want to do it and you build it your way. And I literally just threw some of these up here, so I didn't get everybody, but I'm really good friends with some of these people. We're about to hopefully grow, Pinehurst, and Adam joined, and he is partnering with another EXP agent on subject to properties. They're buying investments together. They're doing subject to loans, which means that they're going to a seller that might have equity and doesn't have to sell, and he's been able to invest. He just closed on 3 of those properties. So how has coming to this brokerage changed his life to be able to invest and actually, step back and be able to teach people that and partner with other agents, not just in our group, but in another group within Freedom Builders. So that's fun. That's just some of the people. Rachel came from a team where she sold 10 homes, and on-call group she sold 52 the next year. So I go, well, how is that changing her life, and how do we plug her into something? She probably would have made the move anyway, but we just connected through social media, and I think her life is probably a little different now.
A little bit.
Not that she couldn't have done it herself, or found it herself, but it's making those connections and getting the space that allows people to thrive.
Actually, Ashley, can I say something? And
Yeah.
Tina, it's so ironic. So I joined a month ago, and my first 2 weeks, Tina introduced me to John Tsai, which is the president of EXP in Vancouver. So I went to my first summit. There was only 50 people invited. When I went there, they welcomed me with open arms. Everybody was talking social networking. Once we had coffee and went back to the conference room, one lady came up to me, and it's kind of so ironic. She says, I'm thinking about doing a mastermind. And I turned around and she's talking to me. And I said, yes. And she goes, yeah, I was thinking maybe, would you like to join? And I'm like, join. I'm like, this is so weird. I go, I've been on Zoom calls with other people. Do you not have to be like a Tina or a John or a DK or don't you have to have? And she goes, no, she says, because you talked a lot about what you did in those 2 years and your biggest thing was follow up. So you can take that. And then I'm going to talk about marketing. And then, but I want it to be an all women's thing. And I'm like, oh my God. So I got the email that she wanted all these girls to join. But to tell you the truth, I was, as much as I like to talk, as you can see, I was a little nervous because I was like, I'm going to have a mastermind now with EXP. That means it's me and this other lady, and people are going to come and we're going to talk about our challenges and our did wells and how we can teach them. So now that you've talked about it, I feel a little bit better to, email her back, which I did already, but to say, yeah, let's do it because they want to do it at the end of May. And I never thought that I could do it because I'm a real estate agent. I don't have a team.
No, and especially Nada, you'll see, and you guys are gonna hear a lot about Nada. She's our first agent in Canada, and I'm so excited because I'm like, you're gonna grow all of Canada. This lady's gonna have to
I hope so.
No, you will. She's a connector, and so, and that's the thing, the biggest thing that people get in their way is, and you did it too, well, what do I have to offer? I'm like, so much about inspections, so much about real estate. People have that feeling of like, who am I? What do I have to offer? My God, a lot, right? 20% of the agents that are unlicensed today are going to be selling the most real estate in the next 2 years. There are people that are coming into this business every day, and they need somebody to feed them information.
And Nada, the one last thing I'll leave you with is literally what changed my trajectory in the company and doing what I'm doing was a conference that I went to. I spent $1,500 for the actual conference for like a day and a half and the ticket and all the stuff, probably $3,000. But Dan Beer said, we have no middle management. You can be a leader in this company if you want to. And I was like, well, shit, I won't be a leader. And so I did. I was like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do this. And I don't have anyone telling me I can't. So why not?
Yes, I would love to do that. I would love to that. That's all my goals, to be a coach for certain things that I really believe in. And I would love to help everybody do that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, you are going to do that. And tell everybody, you don't have to say the amount, but EXP pretty much pays for your mortgage every month.
My mortgage, my car payment, probably my son's school.
Like pretty much your expenses for living.
Wow.
Almost equal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's clap for her. Right? I mean,
Love
just
it.
because she invited 10 friends to the company. Think about that. I invited 10 friends to the company. Those 10 friends went out and built her organization 50 more people. They invited 50 more of their friends. So she only invited 10, and you've been with EXP 4 years.
And we have a lot coming.
She's a slacker, everybody.
Yeah, I am a slacker.
A slacker.
But it's exciting. Like that's what I want to focus on now because I
Now you want to focus,
yes.
right?
And it's not even because of that part. It's because it's fun. You want to help people. You want to help them grow. I had this team and what we offer, and nobody had that. And seeing people come in, like even when John Pajeda was one that I said partnered with Adam, he was one of the first people to EXP as an individual agent. And like hearing what they went through and what they didn't have, which is what Call Group has, I'm like, how do I filter it out? And even I talked to an agent in Michigan. I said, you got to bring Anna up there for the Working Genius.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to connect Anna with people out of state.
Yeah.
Why not?
I love it. So we've got, thank you, Ashley.
Yep.
We'll give you a round of applause for sharing. But yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of this conversation, agent attraction, building your downline, whatever, in our agent attraction mastermind. So Brandon's going to help me grab a date, and we had a lot of people interested, so we'll be doing all of that. So the next step, Miss Anna Powell.
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful. So
Yay.
tell them a little bit, just you and your production and where you're from for referrals.
So I got licensed like 2015, so now I have to say I've been in real estate for a little while. I can't be like, oh, I just got my license.
No.
Well, I was an individual agent. I joined EXP in July of 2021 as that agent that did 40 deals a year, 10 or 12 million, you know, it's good. I had a pretty shifty moment when I was a week postpartum and showing a house when I had just delivered twins, and I thought there has to be a better way to sell real estate than this. And so I started looking for what comes next in your real estate career if you're gonna buckle down and do it, and I thought it was definitely team building, was scared of it. Came here, thankfully was able to figure it out with a lot of few bumps and bruises, I'm sure, that others had to go through. And I have a team of 12 agents. I had to bump it from 10 to 12 because we onboarded 2 agents over the weekend. And we're tracking for 165 transactions this year for 65 million. And we did about 30 last year. So another double, which we'll be excited about.
Another double.
So, yeah, thank you actually for letting them know I'm obsessed with organizational health, because some of you may be looking for these like little specific like niche moments in the listing and the buyer appointment. But what I want to try to give you today is some framework that's going to not only support your business, but show up at the listing table and on the buyer appointment. Our team right now is obsessed with multiple outputs on single inputs. So if we can't put it in a couple different places in our business, we don't want to mess with it, because we know transaction count has been down, that we're going to have to work a little bit harder this year to get those numbers that we were looking for last year. So we've gotten really focused on how do we make sure that we have exponential effects off of single inputs. Brian Buffini, I was listening to his podcast, I think 2 days ago, it was the newer one, and he was talking about he doesn't think there's been ever in American history more opportunity to be in sales and succeed than right now. So first off, I believe that if you are focused on service from the start, that you already have the leg up at the listing appointment and the buyer appointment, because I really believe we're in that era of like you can recreate and like redefine sales. So I think that's really exciting. I want to take a holistic approach to this today because I believe that this is what allows us to have those multiple outputs, which our team is so obsessed with, and they're sick of hearing about. I think I'm going to allow you to kind of slow down some of your business processes in order to speed up at those sales appointments today. So my goal is to kind of be able to fly through all these things, because I could talk about it for 4 hours and I have 15 minutes. So here we go. First off, I think from a high business element, Brittany, if you don't mind scrolling down if they are interested in seeing, but they don't have to. This is also a document that we'll send you the link for. But you have to know who you are, first and foremost. If you know who you are, I believe that you can beat out almost anyone in those appointments, because half of them don't know who they are. They have their little book and they have their little script and they're going to sit down to go through the motions, but they don't really actually understand who they are. So if you can slow down and start spending some time here, I think you can go far ahead. One of those things is core values. I'm going to pull out my listing packet that I carry around in my bag all the time now, because I always talk about it when I don't have examples of it on me. We spend a ton of time working on our core values. How many here feel like you actually have well-defined core values? Yeah, so we spent a ton of time working on these. They now go into our listing packet, and I have 2 pages full of really feel-good things for buyers and sellers to look at, right? One of my favorite is that our organization is learning-based. The very first line is, we will not practice on clients. Do you think a client loves to hear that? Ours do. They love it. We talk about being communicative. How many of that is something that people are looking for in an agent, right? So being able to just say, our team is communicative is great. If you are looking at team building or you're on a team, this core value allows me to hand leads off very easily, because I can assure that if I'm sitting at my best friend's aunt's table for a listing appointment and she's wondering when I'm going to show up again in the process, I can send Wendy out to go handle photography, because we're all bound by the same core values, right? And so it allows for the handoff between agents to go a lot smoother when you know that those core values exist. They make beautiful marketing pieces. They make great short videos on social. If you go to my social, Anna Powell RE, I think is my handle, you'll see a handful of core value videos that we were able to recycle. See how I had one input and I have all these outputs from it? That will get you ahead at the listing table and a buyer appointment. Your vision statement's an important one. Ours is to be a beacon in the community by putting people first. Your numbers. I was able to rattle off our production, where we're going. Our whole team knows that production. Knowing who you are, what your numbers are, and knowing how to use them to your advantage. So if you are an agent doing 4 to 6 deals a year, there's a way to spin that to get ahead, right? One of the questions that Brandon put on the sheet that I didn't listen to at all or build any framework around was, how do you find out who the other agents are that are interviewing? We'll ask. Tina, you taught me that.
Uh-huh.
I never thought to ask until you said ask. Oh, love that. So to ask, you have to make the ask, and who else can ask? Just curiously and be genuinely curious. Who is it that you are thinking about, potentially interviewing? And if they say it's this big mega producer that you know in your market, you can say, you know what? I know for a fact that that agent had X amount of sales last year, and that's fantastic. But what I'm hearing from you, because you said that you were interested in working with someone that was going to be very communicative, I'm only juggling 4 to 6 deals at any given time, and perhaps I could be a better fit. So use the numbers in the opposite way. I use it the opposite. I say most agents do 4 to 6 deals a year. We're going to do 165, but know your numbers, and then use your numbers, right? And then you've got to leverage your position. So if you are in a brokerage, I'm assuming all of you are in a brokerage, you need to know what that brokerage is doing in the community. You need to know where your stats are within the MLS. I'm very thankful to be with EXP because I can leverage the heck out of this brokerage, and I'm going to show you a really good example of where I do that. Not only should you be using that brokerage, use your office as well. Use your immediate office space, right? Because maybe your office is like very specialized in a specific geographic area, and you can use some of those stats. Like 50% of sales in this neighborhood are actually represented by our office. Know those numbers before you sit down. Ashley, you'll love this. Leverage your area masterminds group. So let's say you're in a small brokerage and you don't have all these really impressive numbers, but you're coming to our coffees on Wednesday, or you're sitting here on Friday. Start saying, I'm actually spending an hour a week, every single week, sitting down with other agents in our market from a plethora of brokerages to learn about what the market's doing and what conditions that they're seeing. Leverage that at the table or at the buyer appointment, right? Because you as by yourself, I really do believe that this single individual entrepreneurial agent is dying very fast in our market because collaboration is so, so important. And then finally, if you're on a team, leverage the heck out of your team. That's why you're there, right? That was the whole purpose behind probably joining a team, was to leverage. If you are with EXP Realty, which I think a lot of you are, if you are sitting at a buyer or listing appointment, I'll go the listing route because I'm heavy listing, and you are not talking about office exclusive opportunities, in my opinion, you are leaving a huge advantage on the table. So what you have to do here is you have to be able to know the volume of EXP agents in the triangle, how many office exclusive listings we're seeing pop up on our feeds on a day-to-day basis. Here's what I find happens. If I put this in front of a seller, they'll bite pretty quickly because it's a no risk, potentially high reward to go this office exclusive, no public marketing route. What I'm able to do is get them to start thinking like a seller with me first, because I'm not asking for this big commitment. I'm just asking, hey, could we market your property? Could we get together on this and see if I could find someone off market? This is huge. And so I think that if you're not using this and you are with EXP, this is somewhere where I think you can win out almost every single time. Tina, do you agree with that?
I agree with that. We use it all the time.
Yeah, I think it's a huge piece. And so that leverage. Now, here's the deal. If you don't understand it, what the office exclusive is, how it works, or the benefits of the program, then you're going to fumble through it and then it's not effective. So let's go on and let's talk about my next piece, which is you have to know your processes, right? You have to know who you are, leverage your position, and then you need to know your processes. We're on EOS, so every single thing we do has to get named or else it's not a thing, right? So we have a name for this. It's our Pipeline Sellers Program. Does that sound great? I think it sounds great. All right, let me tell you about my Pipeline Sellers Program. So, hey, Mr. Seller, look, I know that you guys are really worried that you may not be able to find what you want, which is a very common objection, right? Based on the fact that you said you were concerned about listing your home before knowing what you could purchase, then I am going to suggest that we look at an off-market opportunity that will take some of that pressure off of you, correct? And so what we'll do is I'll say, listen, I'm going to have your house photographed. If it's a luxury property, we may go ahead and have the videography done. I'm going to send my appraiser to measure it. We're going to do all the steps needed to prepare your home for market. The reason I can do this confidently is because I have one house that I have measurements, photography for, and videography for that didn't go to market. One of probably 50. So the chances of you needing this marketing, right, other than maybe having to reshoot it because there's a Christmas tree in one of the photos, it's so low risk on our end. We just take the expense up front, and I tell them, hey, listen, if you don't end up listing, no problem. I'll use your photography on my website. If you go to my website right now, there's a beautiful Northridge home. I'm using their photos currently because they've not gone to market. So we use the materials, and then we just start getting them to think like a seller, right? That's all that we're doing in that process. But because I knew the product well enough, I knew what the process would look like, I was able to name it, and I was able to make it a process that when I'm at the listing table, I'm not fumbling through, well, let me tell you about off-market, da-da-da-da. I'm like, can I tell you about our pipeline sellers program? It's named, right? It's so much cleaner, it's so much easier, and it seems so much more adaptable and digestible to that seller. And apologies, we'll talk about some buyer processes as well, just because it has that name. So what y'all don't realize is that you actually have 90,000 processes. Yes, we are in them all day long, but half of you, or most of you, probably more like most, don't actually have names for any of these things to be able to explain to an agent or to a buyer or seller what you do. So you've got to have that list of proven strategies, right? And this goes in our listing packet. I'm telling you, I'm sure you thought I was going to stand up here and tell you to go to Canva and get a cute little listing packet template, but I'm not. Just make sure you have the information in front of them of all the things that you do. Most people don't actually realize how much we do. So let me ask you this. This is my favorite. Pre-marketing paperwork bundle.
That sounds fancy.
Doesn't it sound so fancy? This is my your sweet spot. That's what we called it. Review comparative sales, including active, contingent, and closed sales to find the right listing range. You gonna do that anyway? How about a plan of action? A current mortgage rate analysis and how your home pricing may be best paired with a seller paid credit. Are you going to talk about the interest rates with that seller and talk about, hey, you might need to be prepared for a 2-1 buy down, or maybe a rate reduction instead of a price drop because you're so insistent that your home is worth $25,000 more than my paper is telling me? You're going to have those conversations anyways. The beauty in this is it actually lets you get ahead of the conversation. If they say, hey, how's interest rates? Well, now you're on the defensive, right? You're having to say, well, gosh, I hope I say what they want to hear about interest rates right now. Whereas I already have my script built. So I'm gonna beat you if you're gonna have to sit there and stammer over interest rates. Yeah? Yeah. It's just true. But it's not hard. The reason I sound so like passionate about it is because none of this is hard. Correct, Tina?
Correct.
Nothing about this is hard. It doesn't take experience to do this. In fact, if I'm being real honest and talking about leveraging my position, my on-market difference was just ripped from someone else in Fast Forward Movement. The whole thing. I just tweaked it to meet our market. I didn't even come up with half of it.
Isn't that what we do all the time?
It's crazy. You guys are probably looking at that and thinking, well, that took her 10 years to put. No, it didn't. It took me 3 days of just buckling down and doing the work and going and finding the answers that I needed, right? So you have to name everything, and every process must be measurable, right? Here's another one. Ashley will love this one, and I love it because it does have a clear measurable, is we have a social media content batch in our pre-listing marketing. How many of you, when you go in for photo day or do whatever it is, you actually grab like content on your phone? You do. I love your content. Mm-hmm. Put it in your listing presentation. Tell them you're going to do that. You know you're going to do it, and eventually they're going to see it. But wouldn't you rather have the advantage up front? Because there's a lot of high-selling agents that don't even know that their homes have the capability to make reels, right? So beat them out. If you're younger, you're a newer agent, you're probably more savvier with social media. Play it to your advantage. You'll be shocked how many 60-year-old men sitting at their table with their slippers on are actually intrigued because they believe that social media is going to sell their house, but they don't know anything about it. That's why they called you, right? So you've got to make sure that everything has a measurable, everything is named. And then going back to the table and the buyer appointment, you really do have to make sure that you assume that they know nothing. Just start there. They really don't know a lot. And so just to employ my Phil Jones, which we use a lot of, I think if you haven't asked before you show up for the appointment or for that first showing, you must ask them, what is your experience with selling your home, buying a home? What do you understand? Maybe it's their first time. What do you understand about buying or selling a home? That is a big, long list of proven strategies. Y'all know there's a lot that can go into buying or selling a home. If you can figure out what they want from that buffet, and you can spend your time on that buffet item over something else, you will go exponentially faster through that appointment. Does that make sense? So you can actually maximize your time on there as well. If you know what they're going to be drawn to, you can literally go there first. So, oh, my last agent was just garbage at communicating. We never heard a thing. We'd have showings, and then 2 days later, they might get back to me. Well, then I know when I get the core values, I'm going to spend a heck of a lot of time on my communicative core value. And then I go through that proven strategies, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to know, because I'm going to know it so well, exactly which of these items on my proven strategies is going to meet what they want most. Maybe they don't care about communication. Maybe they never want to hear from you. They just want their pictures to look really good. Well, then you spend a lot of time on the marketing front. You have to know the audience, right, to really be able to do this fast, which is why I didn't come today with a bunch of pretty marketing materials for you to just rip and steal. So if you get to a place that they said because you said, or that you can say because you said, then they have to be able to take your advice, correct? You cannot give that advice of like, I actually think we would work well together unless you actually understand what you can provide them for what they need. Make sense?
Yeah.
So the buyer appointment, and I think this is where we lose a lot of things. Are you keeping up with me? Is this bad?
I think so.
Okay, good. The buyer appointment, in my opinion, is,
Talk too fast.
did you just make this?
Yeah.
Well, I only have 15 minutes and I have a 10-hour course to teach you. 10-hour course. You'll have to watch the Zoom recording and go back and I'll send you this handout. The buyer appointment.
You can slow it down on
Faster,
Zoom.
Brandon.
Right?
Yes, you can slow it down on Zoom. I like the one, remember how James Clear said take it up to 1.5? I just start at 1.5. So the buyer appointment can be held at an initial showing. You guys understand that, yes?
Yeah.
And you can win every single time if you will do this. If you do not follow Colton Whitney has fantastic content on this. You have to set the expectation up front of, yes, I will meet you at that property, but then we are gonna have to pull back and we're gonna have to have that consultation. You will beat out another agent who just goes and door opens every single time if you'll take 15 more minutes. Bring your core proven strategies for buyers, which will look different than sellers, and I can provide all of these to you. I'll send Brandon the link so we can get it out. And just take time to go through them. Ask them, what is your experience? But if you're going to open the door and that is your buyer appointment and that's how you're expecting to win because you're so knowledgeable about homes, they don't care. You gotta get out there and you've gotta slow that down to have that buyer appointment. So just as you can have the listing appointment, I wanted to take a second to say the buyer appointment can exist. I really believe right now that if you are an agent in this market and you really, really, really want to win, you got to understand not only economic trends, you got to know the data points, you've got to understand the sources that they're coming from. I think that there's just a sharper ear to this, and maybe you don't understand all of it, and that's okay, but you at least need to go where you go to get the data, right? So in my listing packet, we actually have, that 10,000, like 30,000, like bird's eye view of the market. And so my agents know for local MLS reporting to put into those packets, they've got to go run over to Fast Stats or InfoSparks and start pulling more localized data, right? We can get stuff outside of our MLS, right, through TAR report and the Register of Deeds. That's going to pull in even more data that's not actually just MLS sales driven. That might be really important for those of you that are going on FSBO appointments because they might not care about the MLS stats because they were never planning to go there anyways, right? So sometimes those data points can be more helpful if you know that the audience doesn't have that MLS connection to start with. And then I can't recommend enough, if you really want to understand what's going on, follow Lawrence Yen from National Association of Realtors. He's paid to put out tons of content. That's what your dues go to every single year, quarter, whatever. And then follow Barry Habib on MBS Highway if you really want to start understanding mortgage rates and how economies are affecting that and housing projections. These are just places that you're going to have to go into on a regular basis to get the information that you need. And then lastly, you got to build systems and processes. I'll give you a really quick, really digestible piece. If you're going after sellers to go get their listing packets completed, you want to get their exclusive right to sell completed, and you don't have a streamlined way for them to enter that information, just go home this afternoon and build a Google Doc. Take every single question that's in that exclusive right to sell for information that you need from your seller, build it into your process so that it goes out to them, because 99% of the time, they don't know half the answers. You're having to call, say, hey, about this, let me fill out this. So really building out those streamlined processes through there. A vendor list, is your vendor list clean and updated, right? Is that something that you can easily get your hands on that's easily transmittable? So the systems and processes where I could live all day long. I'll stop talking at 90,000 miles a minute so I can answer questions, but that's how you win today.
Boom.
You are on fire. Thank you, Anna.
Well,
Round
it's
of
my-
applause for her.
It's my high hour, right? It's my peak hour. Yeah, so what questions do you have?
I took
you
a lot of
have
it
that?
with you.
Any- No?
I just want a copy of what you're.
Sure, I will send you a link that will have them so that they can share to our drive.
You are like, what I love about her is, she like takes all this information, but then her brain works like a computer and she just like outputs it
Source.
so fast. Like really, like when we did the Phil Jones stuff and you were like exposed to that, the next day she was like, I've got this and I've got this and I've got this, and I love how your brain works.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful brain.
Thank you.
I
I think
I
that
admire it
the
all the
reason
time.
that I am so passionate though is because none of what I've talked about is hard, and that's what I hope
Right.
you can take away, is that like nothing I just brought up was because I'm so smart or I have this degree or I did that. Like it truly just is, okay, like let me go put it into practice and let me put it somewhere digestible and let me make sure that it's labeled correctly so that the next time I need it, I can get my hands on it. And I think if you just start thinking that way, it's just a more holistic way of looking at winning in other places. And I will tell you that I don't think a lot of agents are strategizing this way. So I think that's what gives you the competitive edge, to have something that's replicatable and usable across multiple mediums.
So
Great.
good.
I left you 12 minutes, Pam, because I sped talked.
I love it. I love it. You are awesome, my friend. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Cool.
All right, so now Miss Pam Tucker.
I don't have any lovely slides.
No, that's okay. You don't need to have
Just
slides.
me.
We all do presentations differently. I never have slides. I have them made for me.
I didn't have.
They
any
actually made their
either.
own slides. Isn't that wonderful? All right, so Miss Pam Tucker,
Yeah.
tell them a little bit about you, and then your subject matter is open houses
houses.
aren't for me, but
Yeah.
you're gonna change everybody's mind today on why they should
Oh,
be
yeah.
at open houses.
They
I
should
think
be
they're
at-
amazing.
Yeah, there should be at all the open houses you can possibly be doing. So,
Yeah.
I have a small team. I just have a buyer's agent right now. We're looking to bring on some more buyer's agents to help out with the business that we're growing. We'll do about 35 transactions this year, and somewhere between 16 to 19 million. So small, condensed, but high profitability because we're really streamlined. So wanted to talk to you a little bit about open houses. I just have my notes, no lovely slides.
You're
but,
great.
why it's really important for you to be doing some open houses right now. We've been doing a lot of them. We found there's definitely the market is very different. I was surprised to find out how many buyers are out there right now unrepresented, and they are out in droves. So not only does it help you find buyers, I've never bought any leads, so that's how we find our listings, how we find buyers, besides other marketing that we do, but it's cost effective. Do the open houses, meet the buyers, meet maybe some of the neighbors who could be potential sellers. So we really want to create an experience. I'm going to talk about our ideal open house and how that works. So for us, an ideal open house would be our sellers. And we would go and we would create that open house flyer, all of the information. We would ask those sellers to please post that in, whether it's their next door post or maybe their Facebook group for their neighborhood. And we ask them to please invite everyone. And sometimes they're uncomfortable, but it's really effective. And it basically, and we write everything up so they just cut and paste and put it on social media. And it says, we are personally inviting you to our home for an open house. And we want to create an experience. So we always love to have wine and desserts and snacks. So it really creates that feel of it's like a housewarming party. And so when they come in, they feel comfortable. And we do some door knocking, say the same thing to the neighbors. Please come. Mr. and Mrs. Smith are having an open house. They want to personally invite you. We're going to have food, drinks. Come by, stop by, very casual. Make them feel very welcome. And so we have, besides doing that door knocking, of course, we're doing all the other social media marketing and promoting and everything we need to do. And so that day, when we have found that certain times that are working better right now for open houses, Friday evenings from 5 to 7, they're off of work, they're really happy to get there, especially on a Friday. They feel like there's some kind of competitive edge because they're getting in there before a Saturday or Sunday open house. If we can do it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that's the best. Saturday and Sundays, times that are better right now, again, this can all change at any time, but right now, the best time is like a 1 to 4 or a 2 to 5, something that's a little bit later, because we're not getting that midday at 11 or 12. We're not getting the same amount of traffic right now. To have those hours set correctly is very helpful. We also have a script that we say when they walk through, when the day of the open house, when they're walking through, we like to greet them at the door. Thank you for coming. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the home and a very brief description. You know, this home is a little under 3,000 square feet. We have the primary suite in the first floor, 3 more bedrooms upstairs. Some of the really great improvements of the home, it's got a new roof, new HVAC, new hot water heater. So come on in, come see the home, and right away we say, will you please sign in? We're required to have everybody sign in. Do you have an agent? Oh, you do? Fantastic. If they say no, great. It doesn't matter, it's always great, fantastic. Please sign in. And if you're gonna sign in, you can just put minimal information if you want, but please put your agent's name and their information. And then we say, please take a walk around the house, let us know if you have any questions. So that's kind of the script that we always use. Then we let them walk, and then we always catch up with them at a certain point in the home and say, do you have any questions? Can we answer anything for you? Did you get our printed material? This is another thing that I've gotten a ton of feedback from. No one is handing out printed material. So we do a nice little flyer, has some basic bullet points, but then we always do features and updates to the home. And that's a quick bullet point that is always starts with the big thing. Roof is done, HVAC is done, painting, and we like to put the years in there. So, okay, maybe the HVAC isn't brand new, but they know it's 3 years old, so we'll put that information on there. But a nice sheet of everything. Did you know that it's a gourmet kitchen because it has X, Y, and Z? So to hand that information to them cuts down on the questions they're going to ask you, the amount of questions they're going to ask, but we still want them to ask a few things. And then we have a quick printout of the MLS. So we hand out anywhere from 2 to 3 sheets. They're not getting that at most open houses. It's not expensive. You don't have to do, of course, if it's a luxury listing, you're doing a beautiful brochure, but this is inexpensive if you're just doing a regular house. But they're appreciative to have that information there. Right now, we are having them sign in. Brandon and Alice Ann have just done a great training with us to teach us about KB Core Open House and how powerful that is, because one of the really key points to that is now you're not having to distinguish their handwriting. They are typing it into the iPad. You're getting accurate information from them. And then that is also going right into your database in your KV Core system. And so that just cuts out a lot of steps for you. You can also do a QR code where they're gonna scan, they can put their information in there. You can then take that and put it into your database. But that QR code can have additional information about the home, but also what other open houses are available. And Alice Ann was really great about showing us how to do that. And a lot of that information you can get right on the Freedom Builders Facebook page. And what is that section that it's in?
Guides.
Guides. And you can see that there's all that training in there. So you don't have to go and ask them again. Go and look up in the guides because they do a fantastic job putting all that information in there. And I think what happens is when they're coming in the home and you've really created this atmosphere of it's a housewarming party. It's very comfortable. We always offer them, come have a drink, have something. They have kids. Hey, come sit down in the patio with the kids, relax for a while, enjoy. You don't have to rush in and out. It gives them more opportunities to start asking questions. You can build a rapport. Many of them who had said, yes, I have an agent, we find out later on that, yeah, there's some people they've been looking with, but they're not under agency agreement, and they will call later on and say, hey, I know I said that I was working with an agent, but we're not under agency agreement. I really feel like I connected with you. It's a very warm experience. It's not just about business. We want them to feel comfortable in the home. They feel comfortable, they can ask the questions. But definitely all of the buyers coming in who have said, no, they're not working with agents, which is a shocking amount right now. It's really surprising how many buyers are out there just looking and they have no representation and they have no idea what they're doing. So if it's a first time buyer, we definitely ask for the appointment right there at the open house. Let's get together, let me get you prepared, let me show you how you can be competitive in this market and get the home that you want for your family. And we'll set the appointment right there. So that's another thing, before you go to the open house, make sure you have your calendar with you and you know what availability you have immediately after the open house. If it's the next day, if it's Monday, if it's Tuesday, but time is of the essence to get that appointment and start meeting with them immediately. But if they say, you know, I'm well versed, I'm already pre-qualified, you know, I'm not sure about, you know, having a sit down buyer consult, we just want to get the next appointment. Well, I know this house, you love this house, but the primary suite was on the first floor and you need something on the second floor. I know exactly what house would be great for you. Even if you don't know, you will go look it up and find it, but set the next appointment. Are you available tomorrow at 2? Are you available Monday at 5 p.m.? But always set the next appointment when you have them there. Put it right in your phone, you have their information, and then you are sending them a reminder right away. Look forward to seeing you. So just some of our follow-up after the open house. We'd like to do a little video for anyone who's unrepresented. It was so great to meet you, Brandon, at the open house. Thank you for stopping by. Look forward to seeing you Monday at 5, and I'm going to show you those other properties. I don't know what properties I'm going to show him. I didn't even look it up yet. I don't know, but I'll find some. But it's just that connection, and then I'll follow up with that email saying, we're going to meet at 123 Main Street at 5 o'clock, and I'm going to show you some homes that I think are better suited for what you're looking for. So definitely getting that together and doing the video works very well. And then we do an email follow-up a little bit about our team and what we're doing and how we can service those buyers. But the most important thing is if we can get that buyer consult. If not, just like Anna was saying, you just meet them at the next appointment, you do it at the showing. You can do a buyer consult on the fly and kind of let them know what's expected. We do get a lot of, do I have to sign the exclusive buyer agency agreement? And there is no hesitation. Yes, absolutely. We will not work with you. Well, I'm working with a couple different buyers. Well, a couple different agents. Well, good luck to you and them. I will not take you out again if we're not doing that.
Meanwhile,
It doesn't mean that means
sign here.
yeah. And as soon as, and you know,
With me you live, without me you die.
Yeah.
That's Pam.
you will get no house if you're not working with us. You and your family will be homeless because you just told me, you know, your rental's coming up. You're gonna have no one to work with. It's the worst idea you've ever had to work with multiple agents.
Yes.
And you should sign right here.
It's the worst idea you've ever had.
Yeah, I'm gonna take care of
She
you.
would say that.
I have said it multiple times. Yeah.
That's why it rolled off so quickly.
Tina, is that the confidence that we're supposed to have?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Confidence right there. Download that confidence. You'll be fine.
And if they say,
Is that in a shareable file somewhere?
Is that a
you can
shareable
get us?
download? Where do we download
Brandon gonna send out
that?
links.
ChatGPT download that?
Plug it right in.
I just feel comfortable that if they're saying I'm working with multiple agents, well, that is great for you. It's never gonna work, but okay. If you, once you lose out a couple times, here's my card, let me know and we can start an arrangement. And we're exclusive. I'm not dating anyone else. You're not gonna date anyone else. It's you and I, Brandon. That's it, right? And so that's how you're gonna
Very
get the house.
jealous. I'm very jealous realtor. That's what I used to tell him sometimes. I'm very jealous. You gotta sign with me because I'm very jealous.
No, you're just gonna be homeless. I'm not jealous. You will get
I'm not jealous.
I sugarcoated it. I
You're
just
very
acted
sweet.
jealous.
You're much nicer than
I'm
I
much
am.
nicer.
Much nicer. So I think just being really direct and then they know where you're coming from and you wish them well. Well, I feel comfortable working with multiple agents. Great, but here is my card. When that like blows up on you, just call me. There's no hard feelings.
How often do you have them call you?
Future pace.
I'm sorry?
How often do you have them call you when you do that?
They do call back, yeah. I mean, they realize, I think they have to go through that struggle of losing out on several deals or that house they really wanted and they weren't prepared properly.
And they want to be led. That's the thing. Like I want to be led, and I want a pit bull that's gonna work for me.
Yeah.
Like if I'm hiring someone, you better be good
Yes,
because you're dealing with my time and my money.
Oh, and I think
Yeah.
the money is the most important thing.
Right,
What
right.
kind of, what kind of nincompoops do you have, like running around with all these different, it's the most expensive thing you're gonna buy.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you hire the best person who's dedicated solely to you? And why are you at my open house and going to every open house all by yourself all the time?
Right. And you might even think like, some people go, oh my God, that's so aggressive. But you could even spin it to go, listen, I'm this aggressive with my clients and the results that they need. If you go hire an attorney and you're in a $500,000 lawsuit, do you want someone that's gonna be passive? Or do you want someone that's gonna be active? I'm an active agent, so once you decide to work with me, should you decide that, this is the type of tenacity that I'm gonna take to find you a home, get the best deal, and take it to the finish line. And that's almost like like you wanna give them that. If you're hiring an attorney, you don't want someone who's nice,
Yes.
do you? No, I don't care if they're nice or not. I want them to get me out of this mess or find me a house. I'm desperate.
And you need somebody who's gonna negotiate the deal or make it the
Right.
repairs done that you need.
Right.
If there's a problem, somebody who's gonna go to bat for you and they feel comfortable that, okay, I'm protected. And I think that's part of the whole thing. They wanna feel protected, taken care of, that somebody's really got their back along, this journey that can sometimes get really bumpy.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that some of the things, to wrap it up, would be that do the open houses. If it's your listing, I do my own open houses, my buyer agent comes to, but we do our own open houses. You're capturing those leads, they are now your buyers, right? So that way we're not paying for, we're not paying for leads, and that's how we're generating that business. And I think that, buyers are out in droves right now, and shocking number that are unrepresented or happily are unhappily represented, and I think would quickly move to, hey, I'm even under an agency agreement, but I have been looking for so long and it just hasn't happened. If they feel they can cancel that agency agreement and say we might be a better fit. But I think creating that experience within that open house, so it feels more like a housewarming party. And even though you said, I'm aggressive, but I want them to feel nice when they come through the door.
Right.
And I think the other thing is the printed material. People aren't doing that. They're not taking the time to do really nice printed material and hand it. They want something in their hand when they're in there, so.
I love it. I love it. That is awesome. Thank you, Ms.
Short and
Pam.
sweet.
Do you guys have any questions about open houses or things that stump you when you're there? I know for me, I'll give you, my thing was always like, do I follow them around? Do I not? Do I, what, it was sort of like, what value can I bring to them in that moment? Because you have that weird uncomfortable, that first meeting is sort of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They want to see the house. They don't really want to talk to you, is how we feel sometimes. So that was always uncomfortable until I got comfortable providing value.
And I think you gotta figure out what works for you.
Right.
And so for me, it's always kind of meeting them at the door, welcoming them, thanking them for coming, and doing that script, whatever it is. And it's the basics. It's 4 bedrooms, 3,000 square feet, and then really key points like new roof, new HVAC, new hot water heater. Thank you so much for coming. Do you have an agent? Oh, you do? Great. Here, please sign in. If they say no, great. Whatever it is, great. Please
We
sign
ask,
in.
like, who's your agent?
Yes.
If they stumble, they're lying.
Yep.
Yes.
Or they don't care enough.
Or they
about
don't,
it.
or they don't really, or they really say, oh, it's Nancy, or like, oh yeah, you don't have an agent. So like, they're gonna remember my name
Yes.
if I'm their agent,
Yes.
So
And I think giving them that little bit of description, having them sign in, saying, walk around, here's the paperwork, here's some key points, and I let them walk. And then as soon as they walk through the house, go upstairs and they come back down, that's when hey, did you have any questions? Is there anything I can answer for you?
Yeah.
So I think that is, and that's kind of how I do it. And that's comfortable to me. But like this weekend, and it's more, this was a higher volume open house. We had 2 different open houses, one in a 55 plus. It's a little slower, but another one, it's in a more popular neighborhood. We had, and this was just open house people coming through, not private showings. On Friday, we had 60 people. On Saturday, we had 80. And Sunday, we had 50.
That's a
And
lot.
so-
Do you have more than one person at those open houses? 'Cause
We had a little hiccup, so I did on my own on Saturday and
that's
Sunday.
a lot of people.
feel very manageable.
Yeah.
Like I don't,
Yeah. I
like
have
that's
no
my
doubt.
comfort zone.
I got this. And one thing that, I used to keep as bait, and we actually, I don't know if it was Kyle Whistle or something they said in Fast Forward Movement, is having an off-market property book.
Yes.
And sort of saying that too, like, well, look around, here's the house, here's it, come back to the table, and I've actually got a few off-market properties I pulled for clients. We can maybe talk about your needs and see if any one of those fit you too. So it's almost like bait to bring them back to the counter. Like, what do you have for me other than telling me what you have about this house?
And if it's not a good fit, we have some other things that are coming up, so we can say, hey, this wasn't good for you, it wasn't enough square footage, we have something, I can't give you too much information about it, but let's stay in touch. We also get off market in this exact neighborhood. Let's stay in touch because I can tell you about that off market when they come up, and I can also, as we get to market in the next 2 weeks, I can let you know about the other one.
Exactly.
And they for sure are following up with us, even sometimes before we can follow up with them.
I love it. Love
One of the things I used to do too is if they did put down an agent, I would call that agent up and say, hey, Tina just came through 123 Main Street. They were interested. You might want to give them a call. Because my job also is to get the listing sold, right? And a lot of times when people are just going, and it gives that opportunity to get them reactivated.
Yeah.
So.
And you can even say too, Judy, that also goes back to agent attraction, building a relationship with that agent.
Exactly.
If you called me and said your client
Right.
is
Yes.
open, what a great agent Judy is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she actually didn't try to steal my client. She is now trying to
Right.
really be proactive.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. So it can go
I think-
multitude ways.
I think too, Pamela, I love when people are saying aggressive. If you're there and you're like, you got to sign here, I'm pretty in your face as well. Like, I like getting all energetic, but I call it passion rather than aggressive.
It is passion. It is
And
passion.
you know what? When people come in, I've been to a lot of open houses with my clients that the agent thinks I'm a client. And a huge pet peeve of mine is when I see a real estate agent sitting on their phone, on the couch or at the table, ignoring you, saying, yeah, no problem. If you want to sign in, take a look. If you have any questions, they don't even bother getting excited over everything. I think it's great when you welcome them. It's like you're giving them, like, we call it bombonietti in Italian, like a little gift to say, thanks for coming. Here's our feature sheet. There's no one here. Let's take a look around at the greatest places in the house. Then I give them some time and then I follow up with them before they leave, because I think it's important to be interested in the open house rather than just sitting there waiting to get paid, because people realize that, right? So I love it.
Basically, give them your bombonietti.
Yes, exactly.
How do you spell that?
How do you spell that?
Bombonietti.
I haven't heard that word in forever.
But the one thing I do get in trouble for sometimes, but I still do it anyway, is if you come in, if Tina, you came in with your clients and you're saying, oh, I'm the agent, and I see you have we had a lot of call group agents coming through the open house with their clients, and I always ask, would you like me to do a quick overview of the property for you? And some of them say, no, thank you. Some rip my head off. I'm like, are you crazy?
Yeah,
And
please
not
do.
the call group,
Yeah.
some others.
Okay, good.
And others are like, yes, please, because I can sell that house better than
Yes.
another agent
Yeah, I
can,
would've
because
said yes,
that
that's-
is
I
my
would have been like,
listing.
yes, please.
So
please.
some
You're
of them
the
say,
agent.
no, back off, and others say yes. And I will just do my brief overview, key points, and then say, walk around the house, let me know. And I don't go back to their client and say, do you have any questions? I go to the agent and say, do you have any questions?
That's good,
Do your
yeah.
client have any questions?
Yeah,
Because
some-
I can sell it better than you just walked in the door.
Yeah, I mean, actually, and this is another thing we used to do, and we got away from it, but when you list a property, to have a sheet that is talking points for the agent to walk through. Here are the main bullets, Mr. Agent, main speaking points. Look, Anna's writing it down. I see her brain. Look at it. You guys did, you missed it. She went
on a beautiful.
she went like this. Right there. Action steps. Where are you putting it, Anna? Where are you putting it?
Putting it into Slack to our director of
Slack.
operations.
She's putting into
and
Slack to
info.
operations. Write this down. Because think about it. Like, I don't know the house. I don't know the key points. And on MLS, yeah, you're getting some, but like key speaking points, like you're letting that buying agent like grab that thing and they've got a menu of what to talk about. We need to get back to that. I forgot we stopped doing it. So anyway.
And I do have, like, somebody else is doing my open house and I'm not doing it because I'm a control freak. I already have the material. I was like, oh, you don't have to print your stuff.
Yeah.
Here,
here's
my
mine.
stuff is there. It does not have my branding on it. and
Right.
just staple your card to it, because I
Right.
wanna make sure it's done. I don't know if you're gonna do an accurate
Exactly.
job, I don't know if the correct information is there. I wanna make sure the feature and update sheet is there, because that is, for us, the most important piece
I
of
love that,
information.
yeah, and then they'll give it to them. That's great. Great control freak tactic. I love it. Thank you, Pam.
Good job.
All right, everyone, thank you for joining us. I hope you guys have a productive weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
everyone.
Bye.